Well, Tristan had a pretty good topic for us to talk about.
Okay. What do you got for us?
And go.
Well, so I'm dealing with a situation where I work for a company that I really like, and they're promising me the world just in the future. And I've got a family now, and you got to start thinking about finances and bettering the well-being of your family. And it's like, how do you choose between kind of screwing over a personal relationship and a small business versus um going towards where the grass is a little greener on the other side.
So basically, should you jump ship for an opportunity to make more money now, or should you hang on for the long term for something that might possibly pan out?
Yeah.
Family,
Well, I
little
think
ones to think about.
there's other things to take consideration in that. Like, so if you leave that company right now, do you have freedom to go to like things that your son needs to go to, or be around when you want to be, or are you at mercy of the company's hours?
I the mercy of the company hours. Like I said, I didn't get home till 10:30 the other night.
hmm No, I think to find a blend of both, because it's always that thing where like your son does something for the first time, and your significant other gets to witness it and tell you about it. And there's only so many times that happens until you've missed all those first times for things. And then you're looking back on it, and it's a memory, or hopefully they caught it on your phone, so they can show you that. But how many of those things are for a personal relationship where you're sacrificing the personal relationship of someone you brought into this world? So
Yeah.
I think it's a really good scenario. But is the opportunity and growth that you're going to get out of the company in the near future or down the road going to be outweigh what you could potentially be at if you jump ship to something else that you get to spend time with your kids and maybe get the same place you want to get to? Or is it
Yeah, I mean, plenty of promise to get to where I want to get to. Weekends off. I work weekends now. Um, Higher pay, you know what I mean? Just doing the same thing that I'm doing.
is there compromise at all with with the company you're currently at to where there's some wiggle room if you stay loyal?
Say what?
Meaning like if it sounds like your hours are whenever you get done, right?
Yep.
And you like the company and you see a bunch of growth and opportunity for you to have this future that you want with this company. But if they're not able to offset some of the sacrifices you're making with your own personal family, is it worth it? Like what do you they if they might not be able to financially give you what you want right now or time wise give you off, is there things that they can give you to offset that in the meantime?
Yeah. Yeah.
You tend to be like a very loyal person in general to where you work and to where the people you have and you build personal relationships. So I think that's tough. Um, but don't let those convolute where you want to, because at one time they left where they were working to start their dream. So
Yep.
Yeah, I mean
I
that's a
don't know.
that's a. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I don't think Tristan's a person that's eventually always gonna just work for someone though. I feel like he has more of a creative entrepreneur mindset than that, even though he may not think so at this time. He's still super young, a very smart guy. So I think that um, he has enough time on his hands to jump ship more than once and recover from that. To where when you get older and you might not be able to pursue the things you wanted to pursue with ease because you have so many financial obligations.
Yeah, I mean that's what I tell a lot of people that I've advised is that if you're young, you have plenty of time to risk burning a few bridges, but yet still you know recover and build your reputation, so to speak, back up as life goes on. Um, you know, some people I don't know, like I always tell people there's the two ways to look at it. One being the right thing to do, what society wants you to do, and then the other one is the business way to look at it. So there's the person or the character way to look at it and the business way to look at it. And so, yeah, I mean, character wise, you always want to be loyal. You always want to do things that you think are going to be right or in the best interest from everybody all around. But a lot of these people who run these companies like this, they expect loyalty out of you, and they get all butthurt sometimes if you jump ship. But they did what they had to do to get where they are, and they probably burned some bridges or stepped on some toes to get where they got. So you have to do, if you look at it from a business standpoint, then you got to do what's best for you. And your family is like a business, because you got to have income, you got expenses. So you got to do what's best for your family. But sometimes people jump ship and it doesn't work out. They go to a new, go to look for greener pastures, and it doesn't work out for them. It's hard for me to advise people, because every time I've done it, it's worked out for me. Knock on wood. It's just always been an upgrade for me. I've always ended up with a better opportunity, and I've always ended up, making more money for my family. So that's what my experience has been. So that's what I would tell somebody, but it doesn't necessarily always work out that way for everybody. It's kind of like an investment. It's a risk and you got to know that it's a risky venture.
Do you look at it like you've just gotten better at sifting through and reading through things to see if they align with where you want to get to now? I mean, over the course of jumping ship and having success with doing that, do you feel like you've come to get into your niche of seeing through the bullshit of what you're being told, if that's actually going to be?
Oh yeah, it's a world different than when I was in my 20s and early 30s. I got smoke blown up my ass all the time, and I believed in the sunshine and rainbows across the river. But now and even though it always worked out for me better, there were still things that weren't great, and there were still things I had to work through. So now the past few opportunities that I've taken, I've definitely walked into the interviews or the meetings with a whole different what's that?
Demeanor.
Yeah, I'm definitely walking into it going, yeah. I know that's what you got to say, but here's what I mean. I go in and I basically set the expectations. I mean, in all honesty, I haven't interviewed for a job in 20 years. It's always been somebody coming to me who they've heard about me, or they met me somewhere, or whatever it was, and they're offering me something. And so I kind of got spoiled in that aspect, because I was able to go, this is what I want. And I've told the last 3-4 jobs that I've taken, I've said to them, hey, this is what I want pay wise, this is what I want this. But then I've also said my family comes first, and if that's not the kind of company this is, I don't want to work here. If I got to go to a game, if I got to go to an appointment, if I got to go to this, I'm going to it, and you need to understand that, or don't offer me a job.
I think you become the interviewer, like when you as you get older, and what you want, you start, and I think that there's wrong with that. Like you're interviewing them to see if it's a good fit for you, not just if you're a good fit for them.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it becomes. It's like you're going into a marriage. You're going, hey, this has got to work for both of us. There's going to be to complement each other. And I'll do for you. You got to have a proven track record. You got to have something to come with that gives you that opportunity. Obviously, you're most likely looking at a company that's well established. They have their reputation, and doing what I do, they're giving you leads, they're giving you whatever you need, they're giving you the tools. So I just make sure, check off the boxes, they've got all the tools I need to do my job. Then I have to show them I have a proven record of delivering on that. So then I have to go and deliver. Otherwise that opportunity is going to flail quickly, and you're going to end up on the street.
Yeah.
But I've been able to do that. So
how much, Tristan, how far, say if it was a year from now or 2 years from now at this current company you're at versus somewhere you went, how far of a gap do you say there is to where you could potentially get for being loyal and waiting for the 2 years or 1 year, or whatever it might be, timeline, if you were to take another opportunity now? How far do you feel?
well, they're promising the world, but what does that mean? You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So there's nothing set in stone as far as like promotions or, you know what I mean, upgrades or all of that.
Do you care
And I
about
get it.
them?
It's a little iffy because even though somebody like me can say that you can bounce back and that you can recover, you still have a family. So you can't take a risk and then jump into something that doesn't pan out. You've still
Yeah.
got bills to pay. You got a family to take care of. So I understand you got to get everything in writing.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is was your girlfriend say, or sorry, fiance?
She's very against it.
Very against what?
Moving.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not to cause any ruffles in that situation either, but it was the same way with my wife and I. And that's a perfect example of the whole scenario that I just painted was she hated the fact that I switched jobs all the time, drove her nuts. She got a job, stayed there 22 years and got promoted to manager. 2 years later, got promoted to vice president. Now she's the senior vice president of 2 locations. So she's making bank. I started making all my money by switching jobs and taking different opportunities and starting businesses.
Yeah.
So the two of us have gotten pretty much to the same place, but taking two different routes. But she's that she needs structure, she needs everything like this. So an abrasive part of our relationship was I would switch jobs and take new opportunities. And she was like, no, I'll just stay at the same company forever.
Yes, that's actually it's cool that you guys both had that much success from doing the complete opposite, though.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
if
I mean
you,
and it makes sense. We're opposite in a lot of ways. Yeah, so I have to
Lorraine,
step it up, is what I'm saying, because I can't let that
Lorraine, Lorraine, the breadwinner.
rain the breadwinner.
what
Yeah.
about giving yourself a timeline, Tristan?
What?
What about giving yourself like an actual deadline or timeline to make a decision? Like
I mean, I'll give
those
it a year.
happen? Yeah, but I
What?
mean, loosely a year you're giving it, right? Like, what if you set a hard and said like, okay, 11 months from now, this is where I want to be. If I'm not there, and you let them know that too, and you're not there by then you have your answer.
Yeah.
You guys
Does
watch
that,
the new Batman?
well, that might motivate them to like get to that goal that you're trying to get with them quicker too. You know, if it's just a
Yeah.
loose deadline, then like, what's the urgency?
Yeah.
Did you watch the Christopher Nolan Batman series, The Dark Knight and stuff?
No.
Yeah, I did.
You didn't watch them with Christian Bale?
Yeah,
I'm not a DC guy.
I'm a
Ah,
DC.
got it. Well, I was just thinking the Two Faces and
Oh, Two Face. Yep,
flip the coin all the time to decide the fate of things.
yep.
Flip the coin.
It's not a bad way to go about things either, though. Think about people that are so indecisive though. They could just flip a coin though and make a decision and had to ride with it.
Yeah, I
50%,
mean,
you're right.
what's that?
50% of the time you'll be right.
That's right. 50% of the time, they do say that that's the difference sometimes between successful people and not so successful people is successful people just know how to make a decision and go with it. They don't
Yeah.
they don't second guess themselves and they don't regret it. Whatever turns out, turns out.
You listen to a lot of those Shark, like just an example, use Shark Tank for example, just because I enjoy the show and like the different sharks that they bring on. But a lot of those sharks will list that they didn't. The first thing that they came up with, the first entrepreneur idea they had failed, and it was 2 to 3 to 4 times later when they came up with something that actually like grew some teeth and stuck with something that actually went. And so if they would have gave up just that one time,
Oh,
probably
there's
be
plenty of I mean, all the way, the President Lincoln being the most famous one, he failed at almost everything he did in life before he finally became the president at whatever, 48 years old or whatever it was. But uh several people, Sam Walton of Walmart, he failed at stuff. I mean, he got taken for a ride on a couple deals. still ended up becoming, you know, the richest man in the world at the time that he died. And so, I mean, that's the thing is everybody says you can't be afraid to fail, and you should always bet on yourself. If you can't bet on yourself, then yeah, you should probably just stay at the same job forever. But if you feel like you're somebody who's got confidence to bet on yourself every time that you're gonna be the winner, regardless of the situation or the job or whomever, then you should always bet on yourself.
If I was Tristan, I would bet on myself, knowing Tristan's skill set.
Thanks, man.
Well, he's got a great skill set. That's why I brought him up to GFC and then bailed on him.
You